A major update has been revealed on the Kirill Kaprizov contract situation, including an update on the requested trade candidates for Kirill Kaprizov from the Minnesota Wild. We're going to be breaking that down, as well as the Tom Curvers Prospect Challenge, and one player is shocking everybody. We're going to be breaking it all down here in this video. Before we do jump into it, though, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to stay up to date with all of your Kirill Kaprizov news, as well as your Minnesota Wild news, be sure to hit the sub button, join us here on the channel. We have a lot of stuff coming, and a lot of crazy stuff to break down, so if you want to stay up to date with everything as it happens, be sure to do so. We're going to be keeping you guys updated with everything, but we also noticed just over 90% of you guys have not hit that sub button, and we're also very close to 2K, so you could do me a favor, be sure to hit that sub button. It really helps us out. But we need to jump straight into this, because obviously, Kirill Kaprizov is still the highlight of every situation currently going on with the Minnesota Wild, and now the trade updates that have come out over the past few days have really kind of started to pile up and pile up. But I wanted to wait on this topic to get as much information as I can for this one video to make sure that we know everything is in check. Now, firstly, want to go straight into this, of course, taking a look at the current UFAs heading into next year. I think this is something that's very important to really take a look at before we get into all of this, because there's one blaring obvious thing. Connor McDavid. He's also UFA. The exact same situation as Kirill Kaprizov, and arguably a much more difficult one to kind of comprehend for Oilers fans. They don't know what's going to happen. McDavid really hasn't been too enthusiastic about it compared to Kirill Kaprizov, who said he's excited to come back. So take that as you will, because this is a much better situation that we are in than the Edmonton Oilers. But McDavid, the best player in the NHL. There's no doubt Kirill Kaprizov's very close, but it's very hard to beat Connor McDavid. He's going to be looking for a contract, and there's something telling me, as I mentioned in previous videos, that Kirill Kaprizov is waiting for McDavid to go out and sign a contract. Now, I have a few updates from quotes as well here from RG.org, and this is the big one here. The Wild have not and will not be asking Kaprizov for a trade list. A source close to RG told, source close to the Wild told RG, excuse me. Now, this is something that I think we all really expected. We saw that report come out that the Wild have asked Kirill Kaprizov for teams that he requests to be traded to or would like to be traded to. That came up from a Russian report, and a credible reporter, but that is confirmed false now at this point by RG.org, by Michael Russo as well, who also denied that and from hearing it. So that is a very positive update on that front. But when you're taking a look at Connor McDavid, that contract situation right now, this is a big reason as to why all these reports are coming out and why this contract is taking so long. We know that McDavid will likely reset the market on that term, just as Draisaitl did last year. And I think there's a very good chance that Kirill Kaprizov would also do the same if McDavid signs a contract prior. And the big issue here is that we saw Craig Leopold, the Minnesota Wild, say that they're going to make sure that they pay Kirill Kaprizov whatever he wants, the highest paid player in the NHL, and that's a big thing that, let's just say McDavid gets $15 million. The Wild are in a bit of a situation there, but we're going to touch on that in a moment. But we do have another quote coming from RG here, going on about this whole idea. They say, he's going to wait until McDavid signs his deal, and then make his decision. A source continued, the Wild's owner put himself in a tough spot by saying he'd make Kaprizov the highest paid player. Now his hands are tied. So this is kind of just another thing, adding on top of what we're seeing with all of the contract negotiation style of, process right now, where Kirill Kaprizov, denying that, still could be making that and may accept that contract later on a later date, all depending on what McDavid gets. McDavid gets $16 million, could very well be 16.5, maybe even 17. I think we've seen reports up to 18. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but the Wild are in a bit of an interesting situation with all of this now, knowing that they don't really have much of a choice. Whatever Kirill Kaprizov wants, they've said they're going to give it to him. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see as this Connor McDavid contract progresses, what situation they're in, if a deal will come before training camp, the regular season, preseason, whatever it is. And we got to see, you don't want to make Kirill Kaprizov wait. But if he's waiting to McDavid, it's all you can really do. So I think this is just a positive update from what we have here as well. And I mean, when you're taking a look over the coming years on the salary, the Wild are able to make it happen. There's no doubt about that. Going next year, $39 million. Let's just say Kirill Kaprizov's making 16. Let's call it 16 just because that is a number that we saw at least be a minimum at this point. What it seems like they'd still be left with $23 million. So there's obviously a lot of room to work with, a lot of time to spare, and a lot of money that can be allocated there, especially when the projections for Kirill Kaprizov are 8-year, $14 million, going up $2 million. it is what it is at this point. We have to get him. We have to keep him here. And things are going to be coming down to a hefty price point, confirmed at this point from the rejected $16 million deal. And McDavid also kind of trying to get a contract upwards of that number as well. Now, one other thing that I think we can kind of point out as why this is not such a terrible idea or such a terrible contract, even if it is upwards of $16 million, is that when you go and take a look at the Minnesota Wild's roster right now, on the forward side of things, the highest paid forward is Kirill Kaprizov at $9 million. Apart from that, it's Matt Boldy at $7 million. That is a very, very good roster to have when you're looking at that salary. Of course, this had to be kind of worked around with Zach Parise and Ryan Suter's contract on that buyout, but now looking at it, you say Kirill Kaprizov's upwards of $16 million, then Matt Boldy at $7 million. This Wild team has a lot of steel of a contract, so when it comes down to it, I think that we're going to see a lot of teams kind of, not be in this position. The Wild are. We're going to have to see quite a few other contracts come, but this makes the Wild's job a lot easier when it comes down to it, especially seeing how many locked up players we do have over this period of time. So even at Marco Rossi, where we were seeing upwards of 7.5, getting him at 5 is a good price tag, even if the Wild do trade him. So I think this is just positivity coming out of this so far, and it's making a lot of sense now as to why Kirill Kaprizov did decline the $16 million deal, while also saying that the Wild are not trading him with a source from RG. So just positive updates here today on that front, and I want to know what you guys think about that as well regarding these updates. And like I said, I wanted to make sure we had everything that we knew going into this trade, so although it may be a day or two late on that side of things, we have every bit of information that we've gotten so far, so now I want to get your guys' opinion on that. But as I mentioned, the Tom Curver's Prospect Showcase happened yesterday, and we saw a very, very interesting player absolutely excel and, shock a lot of Wild fans, I think, coming into this game. And, I mean, taking a look at what the Wild PR had to tweet out here, although it was a 6-4 loss in the Tom Curver's Prospect Showcase, Z. Foyam, Matthew Sopp, Liram Amidovsky, I do apologize, these names are not easy to go on the fly. Ryan McGuire scored for Minnesota, but Adam Benak added 3 assists, and Adam Benak is a player that we've really spoken about quite a bit here. A guy that's been a big surprise for this Wild team, even though he's only been here for a little bit, but someone that the Wild are going to be taking and keeping a very close eye on over the next couple of years. And going into what we've seen from Adam Benak in his career, let's keep an update here. Remember, a 4th-round pick coming out of this year's draft, or last year's draft, I should say, with USHL last year at 59 points in 56 games. And although he's only 5'7", 164, he showed an incredible showing in that game last night. And I think this is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on, especially heading into this upcoming season where he will be playing in the OHL with the Hamilton Bulldogs. He got drafted there 2nd overall in the international draft, whatever you call it, for the OHL. He was there and now is going to be playing in the OHL. So this is a very good spot for him to develop. And you see a lot of these younger players coming over to the OHL, the QMJHL, the WHL. And when we are going to the NHL, you're getting ready. A lot of these players we saw, and especially the ones drafted from last year, just for example, Porter Martone, Gavin McKenna, a lot of these guys are starting to go now to the NCAA. So when you're getting a guy like Adam Benak heading to the OHL here for this year, then maybe moving to the NCAA next year, we're going to have to see how that works out. This is a great opportunity for him, and especially at 18 years old, performing this way already, he is surprising a lot of people here so far in a very early part of this season. And going into it as well, I think Michael Russo really put the bow tie on the present here. Greg Cronin loved Adam Benak's game, especially since Benak is as young as he is, playing against guys way older, and some already pro. He likes Epoy, like Danila Yurov too, as well as Kyle Masters, but especially in a showcase last night, the Prospect Showcase against St. Louis, who on their prospect side of things are a little bit older than the Wild, and especially a lot of these players already being pros. So having his performance as good as he did already is just such a positive sign heading into this upcoming season for him in the OHL and going on to the next few. Already at this level, as small as he is, put on a bit more muscle. He's going to grow a bit, still only 17 years old. He's going to be in a phenomenal spot for this Wild organization. It's going to be someone that is going to climb these rankings extremely over the next couple years. So if you want to stay up to date with all of your Wild news, you're going to have to hit the sub button. I'm going to be keeping you up to date with all of these guys like Adam Benak here, as well as everything going with Kirill Kaprizov. You don't want to miss it. We're going to have it all right here for you guys. But this is all we got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.